So hi, it's Ellen Rosenbaum, obviously. So a little while ago I was talking about the sequence of contingency sales. One sale hinging on another sale, hinging on another sale. So specifically, let's just say that we're talking about the sale of your home. Just realize that there's a lot that goes into it. In particular, the township is going to require that you have gone up to code with all of the latest changes. For instance, the code enforcement officer comes to your home and checks to see if your electrical outlets are correct, your electric box, there's no railings that are loose, that the toilets work, that the stove works, that it's safe, that you've gotten permits. This is the biggest issue these days, is that you have gotten permits for whatever changes you've made, which they require permits for. That's a whole long conversation. And a lot of people these days did not realize that they needed permits. And now that they go to sell and they bring in the township code enforcement officer and he goes, by the way, you're going to have to get permits for these things. This is quite frequent these days in all of my listings, all of the purchases, and we just get through it one step at a time. They all close. Just takes a little extra effort and a know-how, which that, believe me, I got a lot of that under my belt, so you don't have to worry. I'll make sure that one step at a time we get through it. Some of the other requirements that the township will come in and give you a list, which include plumbing. If you have a water heater, this is a big deal these days. If you get a new water heater, they want to know that you applied for a permit, that a plumber put it in, he went to the town, he did everything properly, and they come and they double check. That's a big thing that's happening, that if you do something, you build a deck, you put in a above ground pool, you put up a fence, you build I think it's a patio. I'm not quite sure. I think you don't need it for a patio. But whatever we need it for, we always check with the town. And then they come. You also have to get a final approval. This is a lot of owners applied. They did what was correct. They applied for their permits, whatever they thought they needed them for. Windows, only if you're changing the size of the window, not if you're just putting a replacement window. Because the township wants to make sure that the header is safe and that it's not going to weaken the structural integrity of the basics of the house. But if you do apply for the permit, and then you have to make sure to bring the township code enforcer back to make sure that he gives you the final check, it's approved. Otherwise, when you go for your certificate of occupancy and your fire certification, which are the two required in this town, I mean, each town has their own requirements, then you will have to go through that process at that time. So just realize that might come up. But I'll be talking to you if I'm your listing agent. I'll be talking to you to make sure that everything is done on time. Don't worry. Okay? Thanks a lot.